Good evening and welcome to Disability Connections presentation of Chuckles for Charity here on YouTube and Facebook Live. Thank you so much. As we begin the evening here, you're going to see a list of slides. These are items that you can actually go to and bid on if you head to Disability Connections website. Some wonderful baskets, and for everyone that goes in and purchases a basket or purchases a chance to win, you're going to have an opportunity to win a fantastic door prize donated by our friends at JTV. The show will get underway at 7 o'clock. Our comedians are standing by. Some of them are sitting, some of them are standing. I think one of them is actually using the restroom at the moment. They need to turn off their camera and close the door. However, some beautiful baskets available for you. I am your host, Scott Clow. I look forward to a great evening of entertainment here. We'll open up things at 7 o'clock with Executive Director of Disability Connections, John Hart. We'll follow that up with fantastic comedian Nina G., also an author. You can find all of her books available at any place you get your books. Mean Dave is available anywhere you get your podcasts. And, of course, our headliner this evening will be Michael Beers. Please make sure that you check out all of the slides here, all of the baskets. And if you're into booze, we also have a basket of booze that is suitable for drinking at any time when you're not behind the wheel or at work. So please remember that. Welcome to Chuckles for Charity. We look forward to getting the evening underway here shortly. Thank you much for tuning in. We have more to come. And good evening. Welcome once again to Chuckles for Charity here, the 2020 edition, social distanced edition here of Chuckles for Charity. Great show lined up for you tonight. And please, please, please take a look at all of these slides. Bid early, bid often. We are accepting donations at any time, even if you don't want to bid on one of these fantastic prizes like the Waltz Health Store Healthy Living basket, or maybe you'd like some puzzles. Well, we got a great puzzle one for you. Basket number 6, beautiful healthy living, Waltz Health Food, and Weight Watchers. Not that I wouldn't recommend giving that one as a gift. Someone might take offense to that. But if you're looking at something, if you want to, embrace a healthy lifestyle, please check that out. And bid early, bid often. You can purchase your raffle tickets, and once you do that, you're automatically registered to win an amazing door prize from our friends from JTV, and of course the bucket of booze. I believe it's actually a portable bucket of booze. It has wheels on it. I believe they call that a wagon. But you can bid early, bid often. All the proceeds go to Disability Connections and their mission to help people here in the Jackson community that are dealing with disabilities and could use just a little hand. So please donate now at disabilityconnect.org. More coming up for you here in just a little bit. And, of course, the website's going to come up there for you at the bottom as well. A huge thanks to all of our sponsors here, and they include, but are not limited to, how about our supporting sponsors here? They are our good friends at County National Bank, 308 Brass Rail, American One Credit Union, the Byswinger Reisner Group, PC Solutions, the Raymond Group, and a host of others. Thank you for being along for the ride here today. It is very much appreciated. And we will get underway with our show here in just about 3 minutes. Opening comments from the incomparable John Hart, Executive Director of Disability Connections here in Jackson. Thank you for being here. And if you'd like to get involved with those raffles, just log on to disabilityconnect.org/raffle, or just head right over to disabilityconnect.org, and you'll see the Chuckles for Charity banner there. Click on that, and that'll take you right into a wonderful selection of options, including bidding on baskets. So there's also a donate button here on Facebook as well. We're available on YouTube around the world. Welcome to Chuckles for Charity. I realize that every time I push this button, I feel as though I'm your captain. We're going to be cruising at roughly about 3 feet off the ground, depending on whether or not you're sitting. If you're on a stool, it could be 4 feet. Your stewardess will be around with beverages here shortly. If you're at home and you're waiting for a stewardess, please don't. It's called Since You Was Up. Since You Was Up, grab me a drink. Welcome to Chuckles for Charity. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chuckles for Charity 2020 at 7 p.m. We have a great show lined up for you. But before we get things underway, allow me to introduce the Executive Director of Disability Connections. Please, a big round of applause in your home for Mr. John Hart. John Hart, everybody.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to welcome you to Chuckles for Charity, and I'm so glad you could be with us. It's been a long journey to get this underway, but through perseverance of our staff, it's here and now. And thanks also to Scott for making this happen, and to our comedians for being so flexible and coming along at a little bit later date. I just want to tell you a little bit about Disability Connections. We're a Center for Independent Living, which means that we're working for the inclusion of people with disabilities in society as much as possible, and to help folks get included as much as they're willing and able to. So all of our donations here and all the monies that will be raised will go to support that mission, like our ramps, like respite, like our loan closet. And those are all things that help people maintain their independence and also be included in society as much as possible. I also wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of our sponsors. You'll see them down there on the little byline going across, but I wanted to thank them in person. Our major sponsors are Walton Agency, the Rotary Club of Jackson. I don't want to say that wrong. I'm in the club and I don't want to be mad at me. And the Jackson Breakfast Rotary Club. Then we have our supporting sponsors, County National Bank, 308 Brass Rail, Raymond, Clinton Associates Realty, American One Credit Union, Byswinger Real Estate, the Borch Health Family, and PC Solutions. And our contributors are Real Big Marketing, Willis and Jurassic CPAs and Consultants, George Page and Robert and Nancy Sunday. I also wanted to take an opportunity to thank everyone that donated to the baskets. We really appreciate your generosity. We already know that people are bidding on those. Don't don't get behind on some of those. There's some great stuff, all the way from Alliance football signed by U of M football player Graham Glasgow, all the way to the bucket of booze, the bushel of booze on wheels. So hey, please get in there and bid. I think you'll enjoy everything that we've got. Also, like Scott was saying earlier, a puzzle basket is great when you don't have much anywhere to go. What a great way to occupy your time. Also, I wanted to thank our volunteer, John Conley, who spent a lot of time calling around. John, you're out there. Really, thank you so much for calling around and getting those donations. We appreciate you. And I also appreciate all of our staff that donated items and worked hard to make this a success. And I really wanted to thank Laura Bigcraft, specifically Brian Elliott and Ina Carell for putting this together and working with Scott, because Scott can be incorrigible. You already heard him. So I really appreciate you being here, spending your evening, giving up a little time to be with us. And now I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce you to a video that was made by the Walton Agency. It's called, with a group called Good Things Going. And they're going to give you a little detail about the agency. We just are so pleased with the video, and they do such an excellent job. I think it's going to say a lot about us without me having to say too much. So please enjoy this video, and we'll have that available later to share if you want to tell people more about us. Thanks so much for being here. Enjoy the video.
In the early part of the 20th century, there really weren't the services that you see now for people with disabilities, and particularly for young people. There were just no doctors that specialized in youth with disabilities. So the Rotary Club of Jackson, which is still in existence, is over 100 years old, they started supporting clinics in the area, and then those clinics just kind of got into larger things, nurses and doctors doing visits with children with disabilities, and it just kind of grew from there into adults with disabilities.
There's a lot of individuals, a lot of people with different kinds of problems that come along that don't have a way to make sure that everybody's paying attention and addressing the needs that they have. Disability Connection serves as a vehicle for those messages to be sent to the people that need to hear them, that can, by their votes or by their financial ability to contribute, can make a difference, and somebody needs to reach them. Disability Connections does that.
I was excited. I thought, yeah, I just need somebody to talk to, because the disability, Carmen and such, has helped me with walkers, wheelchairs, the ramp on my house. I just praise God deeply. It's like, wow, this is happening. And yeah, I wanted it, and I talk to God constantly, and I just feel surely He heard me. He knows upon my disability, and all of a sudden I've got a wheelchair.
We're one of those places that has so many different things going for it. So some things happen over a long period of time, and some things happen right away. So we have an incontinence closet, and that's for people that need help with diapers and those kind of things. Loan closet, which has wheelchairs and electric power chairs and all these different things to help people stay as independent as possible. We have a fix-it shop for that same kind of durable medical equipment. And then those longer term things that we really do are with people working on strategies and ways to approach life that they can be more included. And those things take a lot longer, but those things are continuously appreciated, and we get a lot of feedback from that. One of our main philosophies is to treat people with compassion and help build belief in themselves. So we always get something from that. And then additionally, we have a nursing facility transition program, which means we help people go home from nursing facilities. And we always get a lot of appreciation over that, because people are coming from a nursing home facility where they have nothing, no furniture, no nothing, no groceries, nothing, and back to their own place of living. So all those areas are where we get a lot of our very positive feedback.
I have a grandson who has Down syndrome. He came along after I was already well onto the board, and you see the capabilities as well as the needs that are there for handling the problems that arise, as well as the difficulties that they go through, and at the same time have the gifts that they have that are really tremendous.
If you grow up as a person with a disability or you're around people with disabilities, usually people's voice aren't heard, you know? I mean, it's very difficult for people that are having cognitive issues or processing issues or may look very different to be included. So for us, our whole thing is to make that a normal thing. And so when we see those things happen, I mean, that is an emotional issue, and it is so great to see someone coming into themselves. That's what I call it, is you're coming into yourself. You're recognizing that you're the value of yourself and your experience.
All individuals want to feel like they're a contributing part of the community, and this gives them an outlet for that. But just as importantly, for the organizations and other people that may not have the same kind of disabilities, maybe no disabilities at all, getting input from people that have disabilities to understand, number one, what kind of barriers exist for them, but also there's a lot of brilliant people out there that may have disabilities, and getting their contribution to solving problems is an important voice as well.
It's a big process. So mainly now with they've given me the prosthetic, I'm gonna have to learn to walk again. I'm here and that's what I got, and I gotta make do. And I talk to God constantly, and somehow through His grace, I've always gotten by. I've always had everything I've needed. I got my walker, I got strength, I can do it. So just looked at it as, you know, I'm okay.
I just think that what I would see for people is in Jackson is that when you see a person with a disability, you see a person first. So we always think of that person first philosophy, which means the whole experience of being a person is still being a person. And all those things that people want and need that don't have a disability or an obvious difference are what everyone wants. And so that we should really think about that when we're coming up to somebody. It doesn't need to be pity. It doesn't always need to be, that's so sad, or any of those things. It should be about how that person is. And then if the disability comes up, that's just a part of living. So I just think that what I would love to see everybody in Jackson is understand the person first, and then understand the disability as being a part of that person, not the disability and the person being a part of the disability. That's what we love, you know, give people a shot, recognize the willingness and the ability of the person, and then address that, and then let's address the disability as part of the person.
Tremendous video, absolutely tremendous, and a huge Stu Kale and the whole crew there at the Walton Insurance Group. They do an incredible job. Hey, good evening and welcome. It is Chuckles for Charity, stand-up comedy done sitting down in offices, living rooms, and there's one guy who was in the can. He's got his phone with him. I don't know what it was. He took it with him. It was fantastic. I want to tell you just how incredible these people are, because I have done stand-up comedy now. It's going on 25 years. Never have I done it sitting here in front of a laptop computer with no one to actually laugh at or tell me I'm funny, which is very disheartening for me. It's very disheartening. I have been many disheartening things that happen throughout my life, many things that perplex me. For instance, I was driving through Jackson. I was on what was it? It was Northwest Avenue. And I looked on the side. For those of you that are from Jackson, I was on Northwest Avenue, right out in front of the old art van. I saw on the side of the road, there by the basketball courts, there on the side of the road was a lone can of applesauce. It was a jar of applesauce, and I thought to myself, that poor jar of applesauce. But then I thought to myself, what was the situation where someone was driving or walking down the road and they saw somebody or something and said, dude, ditch the applesauce, we gotta go. I've never had to ditch applesauce, but I do feel better about myself having known that it was Mott's and it was delicious. Don't judge me for eating roadside applesauce. It was absolutely fantastic. There are many things that I purchase in my life that I think you would judge me for. With the pandemic here, obviously we're doing this stand-up gig, sitting down in an office, because we couldn't all get together like we wanted to. We all wanted to get together, and now we got to get together, and then if we were to get together, half of us would have to turn around and go back because we forgot our masks. I hate the mask. I don't like the mask, But I wear the mask because I want to protect people. That's what I want to do. I want to protect people, much like the guy who, because we couldn't go to the Jackson County Fair this year. Anybody else miss the fair? Show of hands. Put your hand down. You really don't even need to put it up. You really don't even need to put it up. No one knows if you're doing it or not. But if you missed the Jackson County Fair, I did, because every year I look forward to going to the fair so I can buy another samurai sword. It's the only time that one can actually buy a samurai sword. I've never known anybody that actually needs a samurai sword. But I tell you what, if you buy a sword at the Jackson County Fair, you are first in line wherever you want to go. You don't have to wait for a caramel apple. You just pull out that samurai sword. I've always wondered about the woman that sells the samurai sword. She's there each and every year, and she has a wide selection of samurai swords and butterfly knives. Show of hands, anybody ever need a butterfly knife or a samurai sword? That's what I thought. Nobody needs. John Hart is actually nodding his head right now as the executive director of Disability Connections. I swear to God, he is nodding his head saying he needs a samurai sword. I think he has fantasies of actually being Michonne from The Walking Dead. We are going to get to our comedians. He admitted to it, whether you know it or not. He did admit to wanting to be Michonne. Frankly, who doesn't want to be Michonne? We are going to get to our first comedian here this morning. She is an author. She's a tremendous lady. We're going to get to her in just here in a minute. But I want you to see the impact that the Disability Connections has across Jackson County and across the community. Let's check in real quick with a teacher at Northwest Community Schools. It's Chris Cook. Here's what she had to say about Disability Connections. That's Chris Cook Jones. Excuse me, Chris Cook Jones.
What are your thoughts on Disability Connection?
The majority of our students have disabilities where they could use that particular agency as a resource, and has really provided so many services for our kids outside of school, but also has allowed them to have advocacy supports right through Disability Connections as well. So plus even in job worksite settings, they're coming to Disability Connections to get some worksite training. So Disability Connections has been playing an integral part of students' lives, probably from about the age 15 and post-high school as well.
What are your thoughts on the PREETS program?
PREETS program has been a great opportunity because it's something that has pushed right into our classroom. It's getting harder and harder for our kids to get out for either financial reasons or logistic reasons. So PREETS has been an amazing program that has brought pre-employment skills right to the kids, and that fits right into their transition curriculum as well as their independent transition plans. So it's been an excellent program for us to take advantage of.
There you are, Chris Cook Jones, a teacher at Northwest Community Schools, just all-around great person as well. Speaking of all-around great people, she's an author, she's a comedian, and from what I have known, she's incredible, except for what Mean Dave told me when we actually weren't around. But it was just Mean Dave and I, and he had some very, actually kind words to say about this young lady. Please give a home round of applause to the lovely Nina G. Nina G, everybody, Nina G.
Oh, listen to all that applause. Thank you, everybody, so much. I just want to say the idea of roadside applesauce is probably the most disgusting thing that I've heard in a really long time. So thank you for putting that thought in my head. Now I really want to go and throw up. But luckily, I'm here in my house. My bathroom is right over there. I made sure to close the door. And this is what you call a rent-controlled house in Oakland, California. I know there is an Oakland, Michigan, but this is Oakland, California. And rent control means that I pay, like every single year, I pay a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And so my rent is relatively cheap. And, you know, I think that is really important for those of us who are artists, those of us who have disabilities, that we are able to live in the communities that we're from. And because I have rent control, that means that there are two people who are rooting for me to die. my landlord and his wife. So that's how rent control also works in Oakland. But I just noticed I have my laundry bag right there, so I'm just gonna tilt that up a little bit. I didn't plan that well. So there we go. So there's always some adjustments that you have when you have to do comedy in your living room, in your rent control department. Also, I've been to Michigan. I performed at Central Michigan State. I was promoting my book here, so Stutterer Interrupted. It's out and it's actually $1. There we go. It's $1 on Kindle, so you could always pick that up. If you want the e-copy, super cheap right now. You could also buy the other one. That's fine. But the Michigan, I have so many friends who are in Detroit, and a friend who went to school in Lansing, and another friend in at the University of and what I love is that it's always like it's a geography is always on the hand. It's always on the hand every single time people start giving me the directions, and I'm holding up both hands because I'm dyslexic and I don't know which. The piano teacher, because I took piano for like 2 weeks before I got bored, and she said, just it's your left hand is the one L, and I was like, I have dyslexia. I have no idea which one is the L. So the same way here, but I'm very happy to be performing for Michigan, and I would love to come and visit you all again once we have a vaccination. So, and so because this is the anniversary, it's actually the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And I've been doing a lot of shows. And as someone who stutters, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know if you caught that, but I stutter. People sometimes think it's their internet. No, it is me. This is the one time that you can blame this speaker for the delay. But I've been performing on these ADA shows to celebrate the anniversary. And people will tell me all the time, like, oh, stuttering and dyslexia, those aren't real disabilities. You shouldn't be on those shows. And I tell them, if you look at the definition of what a disability is, according to the Americans with Disabilities Act, it's a physical or mental impairment that substantially results in having to deal with jerks. I usually say another word, but I'm trying to clean it up. So you can insert whatever word you want, you can insert that there. So also, I have a YouTube channel. I'd love for you to check it out, not necessarily for the content, but for the YouTube comments. Oh my God, the YouTube comments of a female comedian who stutters. Oh my God, there's things on there like, you should really try weed for that speech problem of yours. Yeah, because this is much better if I were more paranoid, okay? And thirsty, all right? A lot of the comments are, I want to see your boobs. That's always charming. But I caught one recently. This guy saw a video of me doing stand-up comedy, and he wrote, "This is the bravest thing I have ever seen." That's right. The bravest thing that I has ever seen is me doing stand-up comedy. And I just want to say, in your face, COVID health professionals, in your face. Because who's brave? Is it people who put their lives on the line to save others? No, it's me, the stuttering, dirty joke teller. That's who's brave. That's who's brave. And there is that thing that, like, a lot of times disabled people are seen as, very special, and that we have to be seen as like very inspirational, all of that. So to fight that, I'm going to give all you able-bodied people a joke, and it's a very safe joke that you can do, okay? All right, so here we go. You can use this one. How many disabled people does it take to screw in a light bulb? How many? One to screw it in and 5 able-bodied people to say, you are such an inspiration. And that is what many of us have to go through. We just live everyday lives and we get people telling us that kind of stuff. And really what we want to do is live our most authentic life as independently as we can. And that's why agencies like this are so important. And I'm so glad to be on the show to help raise money for them. So there's this thing that happens when you have a disability. I get it around stuttering, but I think it happens for everybody who has a disability. The thing that happens is that when someone meets you, they suddenly have a PhD in the thing you have. Oh my God, the advice you get, oh my God. Things like, well, for me, with a stutter, it's just slow down and breathe. Yeah, I've been stuttering for 40 years. I've never thought of that. And I guess I haven't been breathing this entire time. And the advice always comes in two forms. Either I was watching Dr. Oz. Oh, you know some bad advice is going to be coming. Or if you live near Berkeley like I do, and I assume Ann Arbor for some of you, that the advice starts with, I was listening to NPR. Oh my God, you know some advice is going to come because people listen to one NPR segment and think they have a master's in the thing you have. Suddenly they have that expertise. And the advice always comes in very strange ways, very, very weird ways. Like, for example, once I was on a radio show and a woman called up and she said, I have a friend who stutters, but she found true love. And now she doesn't stutter anymore. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that the biggest bunch of Disney princess bullshit you've ever heard? That is exactly what that is. I'm just a stuttering sleeping beauty here, just waiting for my prince. That's all it is. But it's just not strange women who call the radio station. I have a friend who stutters, and he was like 23 at the time, and he was seeing a psychotherapist, and also it's my friend was a virgin, and the psychologist tells him, once you start having sex, you're gonna stop stuttering. And when he told me this, I was like, you know that that's some BS, right? You know that, right? And he's like, we'll see. I'm open to it. And I was like, okay. So he started to date this woman, and after a couple weeks, I could tell that it was going somewhere. And one Sunday morning, I got a text, and I looked at it, and it was from him. And the text read, I still stutter. Yeah, because it happened. And I texted back, keep trying. So that's how that went. And so people have some very strange ideas about what causes stuttering and what causes other kinds of disabilities. People always blame gluten. It's not that. No. For me, the person who stutters, it's right here in the brain. It is thought, and this is the most current research. Sometimes they think it's genetic, so there's lots of things, but there is a difference in the brain right here on the left side. The left side is a language part of your brain, and and there is a difference in our brain right next to Broca's area. Broca's area is the expressive part of our brain. So when we talk, we stutter, but when we sing or when we use a funny voice, then we don't, because that's from the right side of our brain. Now, to explain this, I usually tell people about how the actress Marilyn Monroe was a person who stuttered, which if you stutter, why would you give yourself a double M name? I have no idea why you would do that. I assume she stuttered on season case, but nonetheless, that is why Marilyn talked the way she did. That's why she talked like this. Because if you talk like this, you can trick your brain into talking from the right side instead of the left side, and you don't stutter as much. And like that's always like just rocks people's world that like that can happen, and that's how she worked around her stutter. Now, once I was talking to a guy, and I had to explain to him what was the cause of stuttering, and I gave the Maryland example, and he said, "Oh, that's very sexy. Maybe you should talk like that all the time." I was like, "No, screw you. I think that I'd rather stutter." And that is part of why we are here, because we want to accept it's our disabilities. We want to live with them. We want to live our most authentic selves. And just one more thing that I want to say, and I talk about this a lot in my books, Stutter Interrupted. My dream when I was a little kid was to be a stand-up comic, and I would write jokes, and I would call up open mics. And my hope was that when I was 16 years old, I would go up on stage. That dream died because I'm a person who stutters, and I didn't see anybody like me on TV. I didn't see any of those role models in the 1980s and 90s when I was coming up. And so I didn't step on the comedy stage till I was 35. And a big part of that was I had to not overcome my disability. I had to overcome the shame and the anxiety and the helplessness of that has developed from my stigma and the stigma in our culture around my disability. But when I found my own community of people who stutter, I was able to find acceptance and pride, and that community gave me the courage to get up on stage. And for the past 10 years, almost 11 years, I've been doing stand-up comedy, and it's a thing that I love. And if we can encourage others to live their dreams, their most authentic lives, and enable them to do that, it's going to help everybody. So thank you so much. Thank you, Scott, for doing all this work, and thank you to everybody for having us on.
There you go. Check her out, Nina G. Big round of applause, everybody. Nina G, take a bow. Take a bow. Nina G. Nina G. I was hoping at some point we would find out what the G stood for, but that didn't happen. I think that's a secret, but we'll ask that a little bit later. But welcome back. It's Chuckles for Charity here, and we thank you for being along and here this evening. Beautiful evening in Jackson, Michigan, and completely and totally thank each and every one of you, pardon me, for being along. Anyway, we have got even more. We have got some tremendous comedians on the way for you, including a guy whose name is Mean Dave. I don't know if that's his birth name. I don't know if that was something that his mother said right off the bat. This guy's Mean Dave. You can actually see him. I'm going to try and, if I reach down with this hand enough, I can almost, I think I can just cuff him upside the head just a little bit. You'll see John there in the upper lower right hand. See, look at him. He's already mean mugging me right now. We're going to get to Mean Dave in just a minute. But right now, I do want to feature a little bit more of what it is that the people do here in this community to help people out. So let's check in with this particular client of Disability Connections.
I like being able to learn how to prepare for my future and be able to live even though I'm different from most people. I'm learning skills in transportation and being able to live on my own. I learned how to set goals for myself, smart goals. I've learned a few skills in working, like taking things apart and using hammers and stuff. I've worked there on the loan closet. They were pretty helpful, and I enjoyed being able to work with them.
That is Sophia. So thank you, Sophia, for your testimony. There's an awful lot of lives that Disability Connections touches here in Jackson and the surrounding communities. So we do ask that you give generously here today, and whether that's buying a ticket for one of the raffles, for one of the many raffles that you can find right now at disabilityconnect.org. Again, that's disabilityconnect.org. And thanks to the Rotary Club of Jackson, thanks to the Rotary, both organizations there, and also thanks to the Walton Insurance Group for their generous sponsorship of this event. I know there's an awful lot of people within the Walton Insurance Group that truly appreciate what it is that you do. This next gentleman actually has his own podcast. It's a video podcast. I call him a gentleman. I've never met him face to face, but he is a fellow 44-year-old. Please give a big round of applause using your indoor clapping voice for Mean Dave. Mean Dave, everybody.
Hello. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks to Disability Connections for putting on this event and inviting myself and the Comedians with Disabilities Act to join you all. It is correct. My name is Mean Dave. It's just a nickname. It is short for Meaningful David. So, you know, if you don't find me mean enough, a lot of times people will come up after a show I put on and they say, you know, hey, you were really funny. Don't know why they call you mean. You don't really seem that mean. And I usually just point out, well, you know what? You seem pretty reasonably intelligent. I don't know why you would ask such stupid questions. So usually, and that kind of gets us off on the right foot. What's in a name? You know, what's in a name? I once, you know, I put forth this to you. If you met somebody named Stabs You in the Face with a Fork Steve, and you know, hung out with them all day, you went to the park, you had dinner, you know, you played Trivial Pursuit afterwards, and you get to the end of the day, and you're like, you know what, Stabs You in the Face with a Fork Steve, you know, you seem like a pretty cool dude. Like, I don't understand why somebody would call you Stabs You in the Face with a Fork Steve if you're not stabbing me in the face with the fork, and then, of course, he stabs you in the face with a fork right after that. And then it's all because you didn't know that his full name was Stabs You in the Face with a Fork for Asking Stupid Questions, Steven. So that's kind of where I like to go whenever that gets brought up. How do you know somebody, really? But anyways, again, it's wonderful. Some of you probably are wondering, why is this comedian here? Is his disability a lack of hygiene? I don't understand. He seems pretty able-bodied to look at him. And so what I learned through doing shows with my friend Nina G here, well, first, it took me a while to figure this out. This is something you can probably tell looking at me. I did a lot of drugs. I drank a lot of alcohol, so much so that it was determined that I have a problem. And it's, you know, I have an addiction and alcoholism. Having to go into 12-step recovery. And because of that, I thankfully am 7 years clean and sober this past year, which is really awesome. And if you're applauding, or if you're, you know, at home going, right on, Dave, that's great, I want to thank you, because it has been a boring 7 years. You know, because you gotta figure out new ways to make life interesting, and that's completely a joke. I gotta tell you, because as we learn in sobriety, everything it's just as crazy. Basically, 7 years ago, I got a second DUI. I got pulled over with a .18 alcohol level, and I got a DUI. And I feel if you get pulled over with a .18 alcohol level and you get a DUI, you deserve extra credit for pulling over successfully. Because you know, I'm not encouraging drunk driving. I'm not bragging either. But I was driving pretty good with a .18. You know, I was weaving inside the lines. You know, I was like a kid coloring book. I was coloring all over the place, but I was inside the lines. I'm an artist on the road. That's what I told. That's what I told the officer when he pulled me over. But I'll be perfectly honest. I never got better customer service than I did from the California Highway Patrol in Dublin, California, on Highway 580. Highly recommend them for any and all DUIs. If you're ever in this side of the country, go to Dublin. Drive drunk. Don't drive drunk, please. But if you just happen to be, that's where you want to get caught. I'm telling you, top-notch customer service. 5 stars on Yelp for my DUI. Because they arrested me and they pulled me over, they arrested me, put me in the front squad car with no handcuffs on, right next to the shotgun. That's trust. I'm one of the guys. I'm a super trooper. And then they were driving me into the local jail here, Santa Rita Jail, and they were like, "This guy's pretty cool. He's a cool dude. He deserves a little entertainment, if you will." And so they have a screen on their dashboard, and they were playing me a little movie, a little short film on the way into the jail, and it was a boring movie though, because it was just about a car that was weaving all over the freeway. And I was watching it really closely, and I said, "You know what? This guy looks like he deserves a DUI." And the officer said, "That's you, dumbass." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't know I was in the movie. The movie got better. I like it now." So that was basically a couple days later, I made the decision, full surrender, that I was in fact an addict and an alcoholic. And I learned with me, drugs and alcohol was a vicious cycle. Starts with weed, what goes well with weed, some beer. I drink the beers, they up the ante, what goes well with beer, cocaine. 3 to 5 days later, after a good healthy binge, what goes well with the weed, beer, and cocaine? Second, third, and fourth DUI at the exact same time, because that's when the acid kicks in, LSD, for those of you from the 70s. And that's the only way I can drive 3 cars in 4 different dimensions, 32 colors, 56 flavors, into the sky with diamonds, and still will hit a cop anywhere I am, because cops don't look both ways before running green lights at 2:30 a.m. after a hard party on Friday night. Some of us are just trying to get home safely drunk, officer, and that's why I did the cocaine, so I wouldn't fall asleep at the wheel when I was running my red light. Try to be safe, look out for people on the road, and that's why I dropped the acid, so I could synchronize my triple drunk vision back into one with the universe and make it home safely. So, if you're ever drunk and you're lost, please do not drive. I implore you, do not drive. But if you're drunk and lost, I hope you have access to LSD, because in my experience, LSD is a better GPS system than your phone ever will be when you're drunk, because wherever you are, you're exactly where you're supposed to be on LSD. So I'm probably the only person in recovery who has a commercial like that. So, but don't do drugs and alcohol. Just avoid it all at all costs, as far as I'm concerned. So what Nina G, my dear friend, learned is that when we're in recovery, and I described my addict alcoholic brain in hosting one of her shows, she found out that recovering addicts and alcoholics are covered under the Americans with Disabilities Act. Who knew? I mean, this was amazing. She found this information out, and now I don't drive anymore. I decided not to get my license, but now I stand in handicapped parking spots, and I don't move. I just stand there, and just you guys got to go around. This is my right. And on top of that, now I go into bars and restaurants, and if I see people drinking anywhere, I knock over their drinks, calling them ableist. You ableist, you know, you jerks. You're just rubbing it all in my face. How dare you? But that's my plight, you know. And the thing is I've gotten to learn a whole lot thanks to this work in a program, learning just doing the 12-step program, and then adapting to my life, and then learning all of these other avenues of intersectionality. Because I was working with Nina G already in doing comedy, and then being able to now be a both an advocate and someone who gets to spread this message to my fellow addicts and alcoholics that they don't know this information, that we do have rights in terms of our program. And that's really cool, because it also helps me keep an open mind, keeps me teachable. So when this shelter in place hit, I mean, we're comedians. I knew that all my jobs were all going to dry up, that shows were getting canceled, and then we transferred a lot of all this comedy to online. We were doing shows on the conference app Zoom, and then we're doing this show for you live here on Facebook Live and YouTube, and it's really cool. And then some of our fellow comedians have been saying, well, this online comedy, that's just not real comedy, you know. And I have to say, you know, there's been years with, you know, people have been doing phone sex for years, and then even did that on the internet. They have online sex. No one ever was barging in anybody's room and saying, hey, that's not real sex you're having there. You know, so I feel like this is all just, you know, it's adaptable, keep an open mind, and I've been having fun with it too. But one thing I never thought I would be, I never thought I'd be nostalgic for using a public restroom, because ever since the shelter in place hit, you can't just go anywhere and use a bathroom. You know, they're all closed up because you know, coronavirus and everything. And I remember the last time I used a restroom in public and took it for granted. It was out here at a Safeway. I was going there, went into the men's room, went to use the urinal, and there were two urinals side by side. And if you're a gentleman who's used a urinal, you know what I'm talking about. You might be a lady too who's used a shiwi in a men's room. If you don't know what a shiwi is, look it up. I think you can figure it out. But basically, if you're ever side by side with somebody peeing in a urinal, and if say you're peeing your stream, and then you're not hearing any activity from the person next to you, or if say they're peeing a strong stream and you roll up and your fireman's not showing up to the fires quick, it gets a little awkward. Sometimes it even gets competitive with the strength of the pee streams. You know, and on this particular day, everything was cool. Me and the gentleman, this guy walked in, was peeing. We were peeing even streams. There was zero paranoia, you know, aside from the coronavirus. And then we both were done at the same time, and that's when we went to wash our hands, and the sinks were side by side. And that was the first time ever I experienced this, where somebody was washing their hands harder than I was. Like, they were getting competitive about the hand washing. You had the sink on full blast. He's pumping the soap dispenser crazy, just lots of soap, lots of splashing. I'm like, is he taking a bath over there? What's this guy doing? And I looked over, and it was this young man. He was a young Asian man, and he was very scared, and he kept glancing over at me like I was going to do something. And I was like, why is this young man scared? I mean, we're just washing our hands. And I thought about it, and that's when I realized that was the weekend that Donald Trump was referring to the coronavirus as the Chinese virus. And so that's when this poor young man thought I was going to commit a hate crime or something. So I realized I needed to put this young man at ease. I turned to him. Well, at first I finished washing my hands, dried my hands, turned to this young man, put both my hands on his shoulders, looked him in the eye, and I said, "It is not your fault. It's not your fault." And then I gave him a hug, you know, real tight one too. Really let him know I'm on his side. We had a nice goodwill hunting moment, if you will. And then we both came down with coronavirus the week after that. So that's how that started. But anyways, regardless, is, you know, we got the all clear. That was back in March. So, you know, and we're online. You're not going to get coronavirus through this performance right here. So before I go, I guess there's one last thing I just want to say. You know, this has been a tough year for everybody. You know, dealing with, I mean, because people have been saying like, oh, comedians, you guys must be having a great time. must be a great time for writing material right now. And I'm here to say, no, it's not. In case you haven't noticed, there's like a new terrifying disaster every other week in 2020, and people don't have a sense of humor about it, per se. You know, and not only that, everybody decides to go online, and that's where they want to get into arguments with strangers or even their best friends, their family members. I refer to this year as the great unfriending of 2020, due to everything from politics to the masks to just everything. I try to be more positive on social media these days, where recently I made a post just where I just said, hey, cool news, guys. I went to the store today, bought my groceries in 20 minutes, made it out pretty quick. Cool. And the first comment was somebody I didn't even know who said, oh, did you wear your mask like a little girl? And I was like, wow, how did you guess? Yes, I did wear my mask like a little girl, and went around and went and shopped for my groceries like a little girl too. Paid for them like a little girl. You know, went home, made a nice little girl dinner. So now I'm a happy, full little girl. Going to have a little girl dessert, as a matter of fact. And you sound like a sad little girl who needs to keep her mask on if you're having trouble with me wearing my mask, trying to look out for other people. And of course, just like Nina said earlier in her joke, they didn't say girl. You can take whatever word you want to throw in there and add it to that. But that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm Mean Dave. You've been a wonderful audience. To all of you watching, thank you for the laugh comments and all that stuff. And yeah, this is a wonderful event. Thank you, Disability Connections, and everybody for having me.
Keep it going for Mean Dave. Mean Dave. Mean Dave. Meaning Dave. Mean Dave. Meaningful. Meaning Dave. Which one was it, Dave? Meaningful. Meaning. I wasn't taking notes. I probably should have been. Thanks again. If you're just joining us, this is the Chuckles for Charity, the much delayed Chuckles for Charity here on Facebook and YouTube. Please share this. There's a share button. I think it's like it's somewhere it's in this general vicinity, and I apologize if I'm touching your buttons inappropriately, but I got to tell you, I am enjoying it. Disability Connections here in Jackson does a tremendous job helping people out. And that includes this young lady. Let's hear a story from Gia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gia Jackson, and today I want to talk about why I am thankful for Disability Connections. Number one reason why I am thankful for Disability Connections is because of the help that they provide for people. They have went out of their way to get a person to come to my school and to talk to me. Number two, they teach you all of your independent living skills, and that is a good thing because I feel like everybody needs to learn dependence and how to live on their own. And number three reason is they will sit there, talk to you, and be patient with everything that is going on, and they will never give up on you. And that is the reasons why I am thankful for your Disability Connections.
Amazing job, Gia. Thank you so much for sharing your story here with us on what has been an incredibly fun evening and an impressive evening dealing with and actually watching these incredible stand-up comedians sitting down or standing up, but doing a show like this. I don't know is that you appreciate how incredibly difficult it is to not have that instant feedback. So your comments are definitely appreciated. Keep them coming, even if it's a laughing roly face. And you'll be able to see John as you can see him down in the lower right-hand corner. You can see Mean Dave's there. We'll flash back and forth here too. But your headliner here for this evening for Chuckles for Charity, and please do not forget to thank the incredible sponsors that we have here for Chuckles for Charity, including our main title sponsors here, the Rotary Clubs of Jackson, the Walton Insurance Group, but also to the tremendous sponsors that you're going to see pop up here on your screen now. Be sure to frequent these businesses, to say thank you to these businesses for doing everything that they have done here tonight to make this evening possible. And also a huge thanks once again to the Disability Connections crew not only for putting this together, but for putting up with me. I'm kind of a diva, I'll tell you that right now. But to Brian and Laura in particular, thank you guys so much for the opportunity to help you guys put on this tremendous event. It is greatly appreciated. All right, without further ado, and I don't even know what a do is. I'm going to tell you, I use that word. I have no idea what it means, and I apologize if I've a dude on you at any point in this conversation. But without further ado, please give a big round of applause for the one, the only, your headliner here this morning, comedian and activist and all-around great guy, and he's a dog lover, too. I've watched the dog that looks to be 957 years old walking around in his apartment. It is Michael Beers, everybody. Michael Beers. Michael, why aren't you popping up here for me? Hold on just a second, Michael. I don't know where you went, but you're around here somewhere, Michael, and I apologize. But we will get to Michael here. Let's just put Michael right there. There he is, Michael Beers, everybody. Michael.
Hey! Welcome. Let's take a moment to give another round of applause to me, Dave. Nina G, for keeping me, Dave, and I organized, and for being an amazing artist and author. It's been about 10 minutes. Your bottle may not be as big as you think, but don't feel bad if you have some with you. Go ahead and apply that. Sing the ABC song, or does it count? Also, keep this off. It's just a bulldog. He's actually 1875, Scott, and he's crying. I feel the timing for you aging him like that. It's a while. I wear my mask because it's the closest thing we have this year to like an adult blanket. So I don't know if you try to those blankets around for comfort at a certain age. But this is at night because every time I run into it, I don't know, not wearing a mask for no which to in Michigan, I'm aware. Y'all need to step up your game quite a bit. Okay? It goes over the nose and over your eyes. You make fun of people for wearing the mask. I'm not talking disabilities in Michigan, because I know you're wearing a mask. Because adapting to do something new, and a new way, than everybody else. That's just our DNA, right? People with disabilities. We have, we're doing this all the time. We're born doing this, or we get in a car wreck. So I feel like for one time in the history of the world, we're really ahead of the curve as far as maybe being able to teach people to adapt. No one is privilege. It's a very hit word these days. I found myself trying to vote. I work for a center for independent living. Find one we're ready for tonight. I found it's really hard to be woke when you're tired, but I do like that. But I didn't realize privilege. Like I was born up here. There's privilege in that. But when I see people throw a fit over there, they're literally a group standing on courthouse anywhere. I don't know. What's happened here in Montana with guns because they don't want to this. That's it. That's what the adults that yelled at me wanting to take for breakfast and stomping off into my room are now throwing tantrums over. And it makes me realize my disabled people in Michigan with me. You gotta go to these folks and be like, I knew, like, in certain aspects of your life, you had me. That is inherent. But if you're throwing questions for this, how is your life to begin with? And why aren't you giving more in the world? I don't get it. Like, you're walking on clouds, you know, candy bars have vitamins in the world you live in, but put a mask on. I will say, I do like the Zoom format. I'm not the Zoom, sorry, that's not what we're on. The video format, I don't necessarily enjoy audiences all the time. Because you can't do, there's some material I'm not comfortable doing in front of a live audience. For the ridicule that it will inspire. That or, some of the interactions in Universe, it just inspires conversations you don't want to have with people that listen to too much NPR. And that's a falsehood. There's no such thing as listening to too much NPR. So Michigan, I've been to, I think I've almost performed for every center in your state. I'm glad to punch this card as well. It's a very good cause. And I don't usually do this in front of live audiences for the aforementioned reasons. But I feel comfortable, mostly because I'm in my own living room and my dog and my blankets are behind me. I hate pubs. Now, I'm not going to ask that as a question because I don't care what your answers are. I just know that more of you support me than you admit. And, you're sitting at home, if you don't support me, you're saying, Mike, how can you judge something for the way it was born? And I've done that self-reflection, and it's led me to the idea that I don't necessarily hate pubs. It's not their fault for who they are and how they act, but it's pub owners. Now, I have done this bit before live, and pub owners will come up to me and show me photos, and they'll try to convince me that their pub is the exception to this rule. And you're not going to convince me. Don't find me on Facebook. Don't do anything like that. I've never met a trained pug in my life. I've met a trained retriever, met a trained poodle, never met a trained pug. And a pug, they have these flat faces. And like a normal dog will drool, and a normal dog will have like boogers, but pugs have a mist about them. And it emanates from every pore out of the front of their face. And it's super adhesive. I fixed a lamp with it one time. It was that lamp back there. The pug broke the lamp, so it was a very symbiotic kind of relationship. But pugs never get invited to your house. Do you ever notice this? Like other dog owners will say, hey, I don't have a sitter. Can I bring over my dog? No, dogs just show up like you invited them with the other person, like they're a kid. And then when they inevitably poop and tear stuff up at your house, they don't get disciplined because the owner is too busy taking a picture and putting adorable captions on it, like poop, there it is. But, 2020 is a year of hard conversations. That's why I bring this up. I hope everybody had a good Indigenous Peoples Day on Monday. And if you're still calling it Columbus Day, I want you to stop watching this video and check yourself. I remember getting kicked out of class a lot for laughing on Columbus Day. As a Native person myself, I grew up I was adopted by a white family, and I started meeting my birth family when I was around 12. And all of a sudden, there are certain discrepancies in the history books and what I was learning from my relatives. Because I'm old enough that people the teacher would still try to get up in front of the class and say, Columbus was a hero, and he discovered the new world. Now, for everybody watching this at home, and I assume you have other tabs open and you're listening to me and not actually looking at this, but let's group think about Columbus and his adventure. If there's someone there to greet you, It's not new. That'd be like me walking into Walmart, and when the old guy in the vest says welcome to me, I look him straight in the eye, and I say, no, this is a brand new store. I just discovered it. Show me to your corn. Now, but Indigenous Peoples Day is a good change. It's time to have that change. And here's a public service announcement. Listen to Indians, okay? The only people that know more about this virus than Dr. Fauci are any Indian you run into walking down the street. It's in the DNA, and it's your fault. Yeah, we accepted the blankets, but we learned from it. So listen to us. Reservations have been locked down, wearing masks since February. So let's all collectively look to our past, folks. Now I wanna end tonight by thanking everybody, and also challenging us. I have an ask. This is the 30th year of the ADA anniversary, and there was a quote that I was brought up with as an advocate, and it was stolen from Star Trek. But no, we don't have to ask because we have disabilities, so no one sues us for stuff like this. And some of you may have seen it. It said ADA, to boldly go where everyone else has gone before. And it's such a rallying cry, right? Like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go where everyone else has gone before. But as the older, wiser person you see sitting in their living room, that phrase seems kind of defeatist, right? Because that means at our best, we're just trying to be at the party everybody's been at forever. And I think as far as access, there's something to be said for that quote. But if we're setting goals for the next 30 years, as people with disabilities, let's strive to create environments that other people want to be a part of. And they ask us to come hang out and be a part of what we're doing, instead of us constantly asking them permission to be where they are. That's my hope. And I'm going to end with this story real quick, because it just happened to me the other day. We were both wearing masks. I want you to know that going in. But I was walking down the street, and this priest stopped me. And that's fine. I'm fine with the priest. But he stopped me, and he put his hands on my shoulder. Luckily, I had my bottle of hand sanitizer, so that was helpful. And he said, hey, I want you to know that there's a special place in heaven for people like you. Now, younger me would have gotten really mad at this assertion. But, again, the wise person sitting in a stool looking at the sink of dirty dishes that I should do later, I'm like, you know what? He thinks this is the best thing to do, because no one has had a conversation about what my perspective might be. And my perspective was, are you serious? You're meaning to tell me there's a special place there, too? I spent my entire life going to that classroom and riding that short bus, advocating for equity for people with disabilities, and you're telling me when I die and I go to heaven, instead of just being greeted with and harps, I got to get a petition together and advocate for an elevator because everybody else gets to take the stairway to heaven. Man, let's have these conversations. In Michigan, thank you so much. Thank you for so much for being you in the world, and for the things you're going to do, and for being a shape that makes me feel like I can relate to you all. So, good luck out there. Love you.
There you go. Give it up for him. That is the one and only Michael Beers. Michael Beers. Let's keep that applause going. Let's check in with Nina G. Nina G, thank you so much. Incredible job. Take a bow. There you are, doing for Cheetah Print what Star Trek did for Red Shirts. There you are. It is the lovely Nina G, author. Check her out online everywhere you go. Here we go. Mean Dave. Big round of applause for Mean Dave. Mean Dave, incredible job doing for LSD what we all should be doing for LSD. There you are, Mean Dave. And keep it going for Michael Beers. Michael Beers, thank you so much. I don't know why he just put on his mask, but I think it's probably because I'm on here. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here this evening. It's been an incredible time. Thank you to Disability Connections for the opportunity. And we thank each and every one of you who's been commenting here right along with us here. We're going to hand it right on over to Executive Director of Disability Connections to close out the evening. Give him a round of applause. It's John. Just keep it going for John. There he is. John Hart. Big heart on that.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, thanks a lot, Scott. Great job on herding us through all that stuff. I loved hearing some of the folks that talked that we work with. I actually worked with a couple of those folks myself, and I can see them, like I said in the video, coming into themselves, becoming their authentic self, and being the most independent that they can. I really want to thank Michael. Great message. I thought you were going to say to the priest, "You mean astronauts?" Oh, I don't know. It's a dad joke. Sorry. But I was like, really appreciate all the comedy. Thank you, Nina G. Thank you, me and Dave, for sharing, opening up. Those are the conversations that we all need to have and understand that all the different experiences for all people. I really appreciate it. I just, want you to know that we're doing that work every day here. Through the pandemic, we've been working virtually. We've been working with all of our folks that participate in our services. And we've just recently opened our loan closet again for curbside service because that is just a big need in the community and allows people to remain independent. So the money that we're raising here and the awareness that we're raising here goes to help all those programs, goes to help all the people in the community that want to be their full, authentic, and most independent self, and just be able to live in the community and do what they want to do. That's our goal here, and we really appreciate you supporting. I just wanted to once more thank all the sponsors, Walton Agency, the Breakfast Club, or the Rotary Club of Jackson, the Jackson Breakfast Rotary Club, County National Bank, 308 Brass Rail, Rain, American One Credit Union, Beiswanger Real Estate, the Bortel Family, PC Solutions, Real Big Marketing, Willis and Jurassic CPAs and Consultants, George Page, Robert, and Nancy Sunday. And I know Bob, so I call him Bad Bob. I almost called him that, but now I just did. So Big Bad Bob, Nancy, thank you so much. And then thanks all the contributors for contributing to our baskets. Also John Conley for calling on all that stuff. Laura Bigcraft for making this happen. Scott Clow for making it happen. Brian Elliott and Ina Carell and all the staff over here at Disability Connections. Last thing I want to leave you with is that if you're curious when those drawings are going to happen for the tickets, you can keep putting in tickets, buying tickets until the 18th at midnight. And then on the 19th, we're going to be drawing those prizes. You'll be notified by email. Told we have your email. We wrote your name on the ticket. So let people know, hey, if you enjoyed the show, let other people know on your Facebook that it's here, that it'll be living here, and people can check it out. I love comedy, and I love the way that the comedians talked about it because it takes a really important and serious issue and makes it accessible to people. So, hey, everyone else, if you want to watch it again and get those jokes and maybe, pick up some comedy, we'll probably try out some jokes at our at our staff meeting. Could be a comedy meeting. And just thank you so much for coming out and supporting our mission. We know it's tough times for you too. We wanted to give you a laugh, and we hope you have used this as a start to a great weekend. So have a great one. Thanks so much.